Find so many sense objects to find satisfaction. But then one who's experiencing happiness within, then he is totally satisfied, and then he does not need any sense objects from outside. Okay. Where's the PPT? Okay. So now in the next verse, he is talking about the qualifications required to achieve such knowledge. The qualifications required to achieve such transcendent knowledge. Fifth one. 39th verse. Shraddha vala labate jnanam tatpara sanyatendriyah jnanam labdva param shantim achirena gacchati. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. So, what are the qualifications to receive transcendental knowledge? First is Shraddha, second is, yes, Sanyatendriyaha. Sanyatendriyaha. See what Prabhupada is writing. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendent knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge. Yes, each reinforces the other. So, you share it here only. So, because I also need to see, no? And so, there that person need not bother. Okay? So, somebody who has faith in transcendental knowledge, and then because he is situated in transcendental knowledge, he is able to control his senses. Correct? The more one is situated in transcendental knowledge, the more one is able to control the senses. Because he's not attached to the body, bodily needs. So because he's not attached, so therefore he is able to control the senses. Okay. And so by controlling the senses, he's able to act on the transcendental platform. And by doing so, of course, he develops more knowledge, more faith, then he's able to control his senses better. So then that's how things get, that's how the person progresses on the transcendental path. But initially, this is what is required. Some faith is required. Some faith is required that, yes, I need to obtain some transcendental knowledge. So if one has some faith and one controls the senses, then one obtains the knowledge. Correct? If one does not control the senses, how one can give up the results of action? Normally what happens? One is attached. So then one has to begin somewhere. So one has to begin by sacrificing the fruits of the activities. So initially little detachment, then with that detachment, one gets knowledge. When one acts in knowledge, one gets more detachment. So that's how one progresses. As Prabhupada writes, such knowledge in Krishna consciousness can be achieved by a faithful person who believes firmly in Krishna. One is called a faithful man who thinks that simply by acting in Krishna consciousness, he can attain the highest perfection. This faith is attained by of devotional service by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Ram, Hare Hare, which cleanses one's heart of all material dirt. Over and above this, one should control the senses. A person who is faithful to Krishna and who controls the senses can easily attain perfection in the knowledge of Krishna consciousness without delay. Okay, so those are the two qualifications to acquire transcendent knowledge: faith and controlling the senses. Now, the next verse talks about who are the people who cannot obtain the knowledge. Agnyascha shraddhanascha samshayatma vinashyati nayam lokasti na paro na sukham samshayatmanaha. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. Purport.
Out of many standard and authoritative revealed scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita is the best. Persons who are almost like animals have no faith in or knowledge of the standard revealed scriptures. And some, even though they have knowledge of or can cite passage from the revealed scriptures, have actually no faith in these words. And even though others may have faith in scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, they do not believe in or worship the personality of Godhead Shri Krishna. Such persons cannot have any standing in Krishna consciousness. They fall down. Out of all the above mentioned persons, those who have no faith and are always doubtful make no progress at all. Men without faith in God and His revealed word find no good in this world nor in the next. For them, there is no happiness whatsoever. One should therefore follow the principles of revealed scriptures with faith and thereby be raised to the platform of knowledge. Only this knowledge will help one become promoted to the transcendental platform of spiritual understanding. In other words, doubtful persons have no status whatsoever in spiritual emancipation. One should therefore follow in the footsteps of great Acharya who are in the disciplic succession and thereby attain success.
So there are three types of people who cannot attain knowledge. Who are they? Agnya, Ashradhana, and Samshayatma. So Prabhupada is defining each one of them. The first one is Agnya. So persons who are almost like animals have no faith in or knowledge of the standard revealed scriptures. That is Agnya. They're totally ignorant. So they're totally ignorant about transcendental knowledge. They perfectly understand that what? What they understand? That I am the body. Yasyatma buddhi kunape tridhatuke. So that is agnya. They're in total ignorance. So they're almost like animals. Saiva gokara. The second is ashradhana. So the ashradhana, then Prabhupada continues. Some, even though they have knowledge of or can cite passages from the revealed scriptures, they actually have no faith in these words. So they may know the scriptures, they can quote scriptures, they can speak from the scriptures, but they have no faith. This is ashradhan. We told you that incident of the person who did PhD. PhD. In what? He did PhD in what?
Gita Govind.
Goswami's Gita Govind. So it is PhD, but he has no faith that Krishna is Supreme Lord. So a lot of knowledge, scriptural knowledge is there, everything is there, but no faith. And of course, Srila Prabhupada also says about so many interpretations on the Gita. So they present Bhagavad Gita minus Krishna. So what is the use? No faith. So they can speak, they may quote Bhagavad Gita, they can speak on Bhagavad Gita, give nice lectures, but they have no faith in Krishna. So what is the use? And the third category is Samshayatma. Prabhupada continues. And even though others may have faith in scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, they do not believe in or worship the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. So he says that some have faith, but they don't worship because they have doubts in the process. They have doubt in the process. So they may say, okay, Bhagavad Gita is fine, but here Krishna is saying, Man mana bhavamad bhakto and sarva dharman parityajya. So this is the practical application, the process to establish one's relationship with the Supreme. So that they don't have faith in the process. They have doubts in the process. And especially they have doubts whether the process will work for me. So they don't have complete faith that the process will definitely work. And some think that I'm so fallen that even the process cannot do anything. So they underestimate the potency of the process, the potency of chanting the holy names, the potency of devotional service. They don't have faith in that. And so therefore, they have doubts. And to the degree there are doubts in the practice of the process, then one cannot put one's full endeavors in the process. So just like some devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, what after practicing so many years, then at the end we come to know there's no Krishna. So there are doubts. Does Krishna exist or no? Or what's going to happen? Of course, Srila Prabhupada, in a very simple way, he said, but anyway, what have you lost? You had a nice time with devotees eating prasad. What is the loss? But then Prabhupada added another point. What? But what if at the end you know that Krishna exists and then whole life wasted without worshipping Krishna? Then what? Big loss. So, therefore, one needs to have that faith in Krishna, the faith in the process, faith in everything. Then one has that full faith, then one can put one's full endeavor. So just like we were given the example before. So why do students work so hard, study so hard, right from 6th standard, 7th standard, they're studying to get into IIT? Why? Why they're working so hard? They have faith. They have faith that if I go through IIT, I'm going to get a wonderful job and I will be happy. That illusion remains till the point he enters. So the thing is that when one has that faith, then one works hard for it. So similarly, if one has faith in the process, devotional service is perfect, and definitely I can achieve the goal, then one will put one's full endeavor. Another example we give. So just like if you said it, yeah? So, so if one is driving on the road and the road divides into right and left, and one does not know which way to go, nobody is there to tell. And so one takes a chance, takes a right turn, but one does not know whether it's right or wrong. How fast one will go? Why? Oh, right. क्या करे? सबने एग्री किया था. That's to his advantage. No, you have to go and give those people also. The only thing that doesn't go online is prasadam, I suppose, right? Hmm. So after the break, huh? Hmm. ठीक है. Okay. So if one is doubtful of the road, one will go slowly. Why? Because if that happens to be the wrong road, then what? One will have to come all the way back. So therefore, one will go slowly. So similarly, in our practice of devotional service also, to the degree there are doubts, one will go slowly. Because one has doubt. Am I wasting time? Maybe I should invest my time and energy somewhere else. So to the degree there are doubts, it's a problem. So therefore, Krishna has compared doubts to demons, which will destroy one's devotional service. So these three kinds of people cannot develop faith: Agnya, Ashradhana, and Samshayatma. What will be the result? Krishna says, Na ayam lokah asti, na paraha. Not in this world, not in the next. Na sukam, na sukam. So one will not get any happiness. And especially one who is doubtful. So Prabhupada says that such persons cannot have any standing in Krishna consciousness, they fall down. Out of all the above mentioned persons, those who have no faith and are always doubtful make no progress at all. Okay, men without faith in God and His revealed word find no good in this world nor in the next. For them, there is no happiness whatsoever. So in this world also, there is no happiness. Why? Why in this world also no happiness? So, especially if one has some knowledge. So here, agnya, okay, forget the agnya. But especially those who are ashradhana or samshayatma, they have some knowledge. They have got some knowledge. And so therefore, if they try to enjoy sense gratification, then they'll think, Array, I read in the book that this sense gratification is very miserable, going to cause a lot of misery. So he cannot enjoy sense gratification also. So neither he can enjoy sense gratification, nor he practices the yoga process properly. So therefore, in this life also no happiness, next life also no happiness. So that's how he doesn't achieve anything. Therefore, Prabhupada says, one should therefore follow the principles of revealed scriptures with faith and thereby be raised to the platform of knowledge. Only this knowledge will help one become promoted to the transcendental platform of spiritual understanding. In other words, doubtful persons have no status whatsoever in spiritual emancipation. One should therefore follow in the footsteps of great acharyas who are in the disciplic succession and thereby attain success. So, what could be some of the reasons one's faith gets disturbed? Okay, as devotees. What could be some reasons why one's faith gets disturbed as devotees. Hmm?
Inconsistency in means like especially senior persons who are means Shastra says something and what they are following is something else. That inconsistency when the people see. Means whatever Shastra says, they're doing exactly the opposite thing, or they're saying one thing and doing exactly the thing which is not suitable to their character.
So when one sees someone else not following, okay, so when one sees that some superiors are saying something but not following, not walking their talk, so that disturbs the faith. Okay, so what's the solution?
Like we have some certainly we should understand that all the means like devotees are trying to improve in their own way to whatever degree they have. And there are always some positive examples where we can look upon and take inspirations from.
Hmm. Okay, good point. So even though we may find some cases who are not following, can we change them? No, it's not within my capacity to change.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes.
So therefore, what you said is correct. So then we can at least take inspiration from those who are properly following. Hmm? So rather than all the time cribbing, grumbling, complaining, saying that, array, what here, nobody follows properly. Well, so better take some positive examples. Okay.
And second is, if he's not consistent in sadhana of reading and hearing, then after some point of time he develops doubts in his own practice, whether things are working or not, whether is it really that powerful as it is mentioned or not. If he's not consistent in terms of his reading and hearing,
Okay, so if no consistency in Shravanam Kirtanam, so what happens?
then because there is no intake of regular transcendental knowledge, so whatever acts he performs externally, if he even if he performs, let's say take a case of someone practicing devotional service but not having proper sadhana of reading and hearing, then he might develop that some after some point of time he tells, I'm doing so much of service, but is it working or not? I'm not able to see any progress or progress in my spiritual life and all this stuff. And sometimes you may doubt the activity itself.
Okay, fine. So basically, no proper Shravanam Kirtanam, then what happens? No purification. So when there's no purification, then one cannot develop faith, one develops doubts. So all these problems take place because of inconsistency in one's sadhana practices. Okay, so online, who wants to say?
Wrong association, bad association.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Bad association, wrong association.
Bad association. Okay, so what happens by bad association?
Bad association, two things that one thing is that when person from the wrong association one gets conception that there is better perspective in material life.
Hmm.
So in that
Okay,
way,
so one will feel that there's better prospects in material life because of bad association. Right, so then one's faith gets disturbed. Okay, good. Huh.
If one has not sufficiently cleared the doubts and continue to harbor that doubts in mind,
So then what will happen?
so he will don't come to a conclusion about his doubt, and doubt will remain doubt.
Okay, so doubts not being clarified. So doubts not being clarified will multiply. And so then the faith is disturbed. Okay. Okay, you have the mic. Okay.
Nectar shopping.
Okay, so what is the nectar and where is the shop?
Nowadays, because of the online media,
Hmm.
too many speakers of Harikatha are there in the market.
That's good, isn't it?
That's good because people are getting connected to Krishna in some way. But particularly if we see for one person, he should be hearing from parampara, not from any unauthorized devotees, because there are many, because in YouTube we don't come to know about the character of the person, we only come to know his face and camera. So in that way, when people take inspiration from such sources, and later hears some big scams or something, their fates get totally shattered and they turn away from Krishna. So rather than coming closer to Krishna, they turn away from Krishna.
Okay,
So-
so yes, so that's also in one sense asatsang.
Hmm.
So hearing from the wrong persons and right.
And as in Chaitanya Charitamrita also it is
Hmm.
said, Bahu Shastre, Bahu Vakya Chitta Brahma.
Yes, chitta brahma hoi. So one will be put into bewilderment because of reading too many scriptures, too many instructions. So exactly what to follow. So one gets totally confused. And of course, we have enough examples of that. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashniya sevaya.
Mm.
Service is also very important.
Mm.
Like although we are asking questions, like in this case also like window shopping, since we are not serving that person, so even if he is speaking subject matter, they will not touch our heart or there will not be a transformation,
Mm.
no tangible change within us because we have not served that personality. So in that way, it does not help if we are not serving.
Okay, no service, no purification. And without purification, no realization. So therefore, then everything simply remains on the transcendental platform and then on the theoretical platform, and then one cannot make much progress. Yes.
The content is bad health.
Hmm?
Bad health.
Bad health. Which health you're talking about? Physical health, emotional health, spiritual health? Which health?
Body.
Huh?
Body.
Physical health. Okay, so if there's bad physical health, what happens?
Unable to do services.
Unable to do services. Okay. But one can always chant, no?
Chastisement and fear to someone in future.
So why should someone chastise if your health is not good and you're not able to render service?
Different mentality.
Uh-huh.
Say something. You are
Acha.
not doing, you are eating.
Acha. So they tell like that, huh?
Yes, sir.
So you should take certificate from our doctor and show to whoever is chastising. Hmm? So if you're sick, why someone will chastise?
They are envious to he only sitting and eating, not doing anything.
But then if you're sick, how can you do, na? क्या समस्या क्या है? Hmm?
Then one can think actually.
थोड़ा जोर से बोलिए.
Feel guilty. I am only here for eating, not doing anything. So mentally he.
लेकिन बीमारी तो कुछ समय तक रहती है ना, हमेशा के लिए बीमारी नहीं रहती.
Then the chastisement is he actually thinking more and more. It's actually not good here. Actually, devotee is also.
आपको कुछ एक्सपीरियंस हो गया क्या ऐसे? लगता है किसी ने
Yes, brother. It happens with me, brother.
तो डॉक्टर को बोलो एक सर्टिफिकेट देने के लिए.
And so do all devotees.
You take certificate and show to all devotees so that no one will chastise you. ठीक है ना? हाँ उज्जवल bro.
Just like you said, in the milk, one drop of poison is there, then it becomes like poison only. Similarly, material association, if you're going for preaching, and in that we are hearing more we are associating, and then it will harm our faith directly.
Correct. So if we are taking association rather than giving association, so if we take association when we go out for preaching, then we'll be influenced by that, and that will definitely affect our faith. So therefore, one should safeguard the faith by remaining in the proper association. So that is the fencing of the Bhakti Lata. Hmm?
No superiors to kind of control
Guidance.
guidance.
Yes.
He is independently doing things.
Correct. So if there's no good guidance, then also one can either suffer in one's practice of sadhana or services or bad association. So many ways one can go on the wrong track, then one's faith can get disturbed. So therefore, it's very important that one very carefully safeguards one's faith, because it's very tender in the initial stages of devotional service. So therefore, very important that we safeguard that faith by being in the right association and by following the rules and regulations of devotional service. 41. Yoga sanyasta karmanam jnana sanchinna samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibhadnanti dhananjaya. One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus, he is not bound by the reactions of work or conqueror of riches. So, here Krishna is sort of summarizing the whole section, the whole discussion on Nishkam Karma Yoga. He is summarizing and is saying, Yoga Sanyasta Karmanam. So, if one acts in Karma Yoga, with sannyas from what? Fruits. So if one is performing Nishkam Karma Yoga with detachment from the fruits, and Jnana Sanchinna Samshayam, with Jnana, with transcendental knowledge, one has cut Sanchina, cut all the doubts. So then the result of that is Atmavantam. He's situated in the self because he perfectly realizes that I'm not the body, I'm the spirit soul. So he's perfectly situated in self-realization. And when he's situated on that platform, na karmani nibadnanti, then even though he may perform work, he is not bound by that work because he is performing it with full knowledge and is detached from the fruits. And finally, Krishna is giving an instruction to Arjuna. Tasmadagya Tasmadagyan sambhutam ritstam jnanashinatmanah chitvainam samshayam yogam atishto bharata. Therefore, so after explaining the whole thing, he's concluding, therefore, what you must do? Ajnana sambhutam. So the agyan that has arisen within your heart, ritstham. So jnana asina, jnana asina. Asina means swords. So with the sword of knowledge, you cut the agyan. Where else this word asina comes? Asina. Where else it comes? 15th chapter. So that is, what is that? Dridena Chitva, yes. That is,
Asanga Sastrena Dridena Chitta.
Yes, Asanga Shastrena Dridena Chitva. That's right. But where this word comes, Asina, swords. Chidyante Hridaye Grantis Chidbhidyante Sarva Samshayaha. Yante Chasi Karmani. That's Bhagavatam, correct. There is one more verse where this word comes. Sword of... Somewhere it comes where the same Meaning is there. Sword. Anyway. Correct. Thank you. Yad anudhyasina yuktaha. This is 1.2.12. 12 or 13? 15, correct. Yad anudhyasina yukta. Aage kya? Karma granti nibandhan. Yes, Chinandi Kovidastas. Kona Kuriyat. Yes. So there also there was same thing. Yad anudhyasina yuktaha. And I was just hearing a lecture on that verse actually. So there asina is the same meaning, sword. But there, what is that sword? Anudhya. Anudhya means remembrance. So remembrance of Krishna acts like a sword. So Prabhupada is giving a lecture on that verse. So Srila Prabhupada says, so in some religions, in some religious practices, they carry the scripture in one hand and sword in the other. And if they don't accept the scripture, they cut off the head. And then Srila Prabhupada says, so I also had a sword when I went to New York, but not that type of sword. So, and he says, so when I went to New York, what I was doing, I was chanting the holy names. So then that acted like sword. So yes, so same thing basically. So here he says Jnana Asina. So here it is sword of knowledge. So by the sword of knowledge, one can cut the Agyan. Chitvaitam Samshayam. So one should cut all the doubts with the sword of knowledge and be situated in the self, Atmanaha. So therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. Atishto Tishta Bharata, stand and fight. So here Krishna is giving a direct instruction. So Srila Prabhupada is giving a nice summary of the whole chapter. So you can read that yourself. Okay, that's in the Bhagavad purport. So the fourth chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of transcendental knowledge.
Till now, at least 3-4 times, Krishna has told, kind of instructed Arjuna to stand and fight, but he's not ready to accept. Sometimes we see that there are questions in the audience, and he could ask that question 3-4 times. So different answers comes. So is that also required for speaker or for teacher to be that patient to hear that again and again in different way? He's now telling. He's already told almost all the things whatever we hear except the Bhakti Yoga directly, like how everything should be in my conscience. That thing also indirectly is told, like. So I just wanted to understand that patience. How is that?
Okay, so basically you're asking that if there is someone in the audience who keeps repeatedly asking the same question.
It's very easy as a teacher to consider that an arrogant person. Oh, itne baar bol diya, samajh nahi aa raha. Like that. He has spoken in different way all through, like till that the time.
So what is your question?
This is the question, like how to develop that patience, or what goes in the mind of a teacher, because sometimes when we share, we are not that patient. Arey, samajh mein nahi aa raha, kya bata to diya, like that.
So at the end, in the 18th chapter,
He's again saying.
I'll read it directly. So at the end, Krishna asks Arjuna, have you heard this with an attentive mind? And are your ignorance and illusion now dispelled? And Prabhupada writes, the Lord was acting as the spiritual master of Arjuna. Therefore, it was duty to inquire from Arjuna whether he understood the whole Bhagavad Gita in its proper perspective. If not, the Lord was ready to re-explain any point or the whole Bhagavad Gita if so required. I'll give you one more reference. 5th canto, 5th chapter, verse number 15. So in that, Lord Rishabdev's teachings. So Lord Rishabdev says that, I'm paraphrasing, so he's talking about all those responsible people. And that is the 18th verse. But before that he says, so if one is a responsible person and the subordinate is not following the instructions, it is the duty of the superior to continue giving instructions without becoming angry on the subordinate. So that is how a superior has to act. Because if the superior gets angry and says, get lost, how many times do I use him? Then the person will get discouraged, no? How much patience Srila Prabhupada exhibited? There is no limits. How much patience, tolerance Prabhupada exhibited? So you may have heard that pastime of how there was one senior devotee, early days, so who later on sold one temple and took the money and ran away. Whatever it is, center, restaurant. So Rameshwar Prabhu was telling actually. So Srila Prabhupada, so this devotee was in Hawaii. So he left ISKCON, he was just wandering around like a vagabond in the islands of Hawaii. Srila Prabhupada told Rameshwar Prabhu, book a flight ticket and go and find this person, give it to him and tell him to come and meet me. So Rameshwar Prabhu did that. So he went searching everywhere, finding where is this person. And then somehow he found him. And when this person, he heard that Srila Prabhupada told him to give a flight ticket, just shocked. And yeah, so this was one instant. There was another instant when something similar happened, and Srila Prabhupada, so this person actually came to meet Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada didn't chastise him, nothing. And Srila Prabhupada just spoke something, okay, how are you, this, that, and he went away. Prabhupada never asked him for the money or anything. He didn't ask him for anything. And so I think so it was Shrutakirti Prabhu who was there. And so after this person left, so Shrutakirti Prabhu asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you didn't ask him for the money or anything? Prabhupada said, he is a rascal. but still I love him. This is the meaning of what? Your ever well wisher. Always thinking about the well wishes of the other person. So that's our Acharya. We're supposed to follow in his footsteps. Okay. Anything else? Good. Huh.
Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. But in the yoga later we see that this after Gyan, the mysticism, yoga process is there.
Where are you reading from?
It's 38.
30.
Translation.
Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism.
So after Karma Yoga, then comes Gyan Yoga, then all this Ashtanga Yoga, no? This mysticism.
Mysticism.
And also in Siksha.
Where in the word to word it's coming, mysticism?
And also in Sikshashtram, one statement kind of Vidyabadhu Jivanam, something like that. Transcendental knowledge.
नहीं, पहले ये बताइए वर्ड टू वर्ड में मिस्टिसिज्म कहाँ पर? पवित्रम यह इद्यते तत्स्वयं योग संसिद्ध. Yes, samsiddha. He was mature. So such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. So mysticism does not refer only to Ashtanga Yoga where one gets mystic siddhis. Mysticism means anything which is mystic. Yes, transcendental. Anything which is transcendental is mystic. Because transcendental knowledge is not within the grasp of material mind and senses. Correct? So therefore, anything which is on the transcendental platform, which is divyam. So anything which is divyam is also achintya. So therefore, here mysticism does not mean simply Ashtanga Yoga. So he's referring to yoga. So he's saying that this knowledge is the mature fruit of Nishkam Karma Yoga. That's what he's talking about. So that Nishkam Karma Yoga is being referred to as mysticism. So the yoga, transcendental path, is called mysticism. Okay.
So in relation to what he has asked, transcendental knowledge is compared to like the ripe fruit of all mysticism. So the like uska पिछले verses जाएंगे when we have seen the other verses before that verse. He was that the topic of transcendental knowledge started like at 34, 33rd and 34th verse where Lord is referring try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively and render service unto. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Now, the self-realized soul, in case referring to this particular chapter and particular verse, is referring to a spiritual master who is realized in at the level of Gyan, or is referring to anyone in general, like what specifically? Fourth verse.
Okay.
Because from that actually from
see,
there.
See the translation.
Yeah.
The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth.
Yeah.
Tattva darshinaha.
Yes.
So what's your understanding?
But my understanding is anyone actually who has seen the truth. In the sense, maybe as far as what I understand is maybe someone who has realized Paramatma, he has seen Paramatma in his heart, or maybe directly when Lord reciprocates, when he's when he's
So when we
vibrating
talk about seeing, what does seeing mean? We will discuss.
experience.
Yes, so it is experience knowledge. That
Experience.
means realized
Yes, no,
knowledge.
darshan.
Realized knowledge. So it's not referring to only theoretical knowledge, it's referring to realized knowledge.
Yes.
So somebody who's speaking with some realization in the subject.
Yes.
That's your question, right?
No, but actually, my question specifically is when we are referring to a spiritual master here, or someone who is a seer of truth who has realized knowledge, referring to specifically, let's say when we have discussed the yoga ladder, we have discussed that at any point of stage in all the yoga ladder, people do that practice under some guidance. And
Right. So according to the level, that realization.
So now here when he speaks of spiritual master, in particular in this verse, is it referring to a spiritual master for that person who is practicing Nishkam Karma Yoga, and a spiritual master who has realized knowledge of Nishkam Karma Yoga, or is it general anyone above that knowledge?
So here, somebody who has realized knowledge of the self, tattva darshana, tattva. So one who has realized the tattva, one who has realized that there is spirit soul, I'm not the body, and there is a supreme soul. Vadanti tat tattva vidas, tattvam yash jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwaniti shabhyate. So anyone who has realized the tattva, the absolute truth, in any of the features can be called as tattva darshan. Okay. Fine. Okay, can we proceed? Okay, good. So now we're going to the 5th chapter. Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. Okay, first 6 verses, Karma Yoga better than Karma Sannyas, 7 to 12, Nishkam Karma Yogi for the Jnani, 13 to 16, relationship between Ishvara, Jiva and Prakriti, 17 to 26, vision of a Jnani and Paramatmavadi, 27, 28, introduction to Dhyan Yoga, and 29 is the peace formula. Okay, let's recite the first verse. Arjuna uvacha sannyasam karmanam Krishna punar yogam cha shamshasi yachreya etayorekam tanme bruhi sunishitam. Arjuna said, "Oh Krishna, first of all, you asked me to renounce work. And then again, you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial?" Now, what was the question Arjuna asked at the beginning of the 3rd chapter? At the beginning of the 3rd chapter. Huh? What's the question? So what Arjuna is saying, he's saying, don't give me equivocal instructions. Vyamishrena. Don't give equivocal. Equivocal means what? So he's saying, okay, do buddhi yoga. That means do meditation. And then he's saying work with detachment to the fruits. So how can one not work and work at the same time? These are equivocal instructions. So therefore, there also he says, give me one. Tad ekam. Give one instruction. Don't give like this equivocal instructions. Now here what he's asking? Same thing. Here also he's saying same thing. You're telling me to renounce work. And then again you're telling me to fight. So why this doubt again? After whole Ramayana is over, who's Sita's father? Okay, everyone have a look and find out what is the connection between the previous chapter and this chapter. Bolo.
Here, one thing is they're working in devotion, and in the previous chapter it was telling how by inaction, like action in inaction. So, like as you said last time also, that we have all these commentaries and we can understand the purpose of Krishna, but Arjuna is not having any commentaries. So he's confused between work in devotion and inaction and inaction. So basically, what he should do. So that's
Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, that's a good thought. Somebody else? Yes, any other thoughts? Why Arjuna is asking this question? Okay, Vamsadhar. Piche.
So in fourth chapter, Lord is speaking about action and devotion service. And then in third chapter, verse number 17 and 18, Lord refers to someone who is self-realized. There for them there is no duty, and then there is for them there is nothing to be performed.
Okay.
So he's confused, like Lord was telling that there is no duty for someone who is realized. And then in next chapter, Lord continues saying that you work with knowledge.
Okay. 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 That's also possibility.
Hare Krishna. There in this 16th verse, 4th chapter, there it says, even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. So here Arjuna is not understanding about the akarma and karma, means which binds and which liberates.
So Arjuna is playing the role of a bewildered person. Okay.
In the Purport Prabhupada writing.
What is Prabhupada writing? Read.
Answer to that question. In the third chapter, it was explained that a person who is situated on the platform of knowledge is having no longer any duties to perform. Then in the fourth chapter, the Lord told Arjuna that all kinds of sacrificial work culminate in knowledge. But at the end of the fourth chapter, Lord advised Arjuna to wake up and fight, being in perfect knowledge. So, therefore, by simultaneously stressing the importance of both work in devotion and inaction in knowledge, Krishna has perplexed Arjuna and confused his determination.
Right. Yes, that's the answer. So in the third chapter, it was explained that a person who sits on platform of knowledge no longer has any duties to perform. Okay, that's what you were saying, right? That is the 17th verse. Yes. And in the fourth chapter, the Lord told Arjuna that all kinds of sacrificial work culminate in knowledge. Which verse in the fourth chapter?
41.
Yes, basically 41. Yes, you can say 41. Yes. in one sense, 41.
33 also. 33 also.
33. Yes. All sacrifice of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. That's there in 33, yes. Yes, so in many places in the 4th chapter, Krishna has spoken about transcendental knowledge. And so again, Arjuna takes that to be not working. So like in the 41st verse also, Yoga Sanyasta Karmanam. So now, hearing the word sannyasta, Arjuna could think that, oh, this means taking sannyas. But then immediately next verse he says, Atishto Tishta Bharata, stand up and fight. I take sannyas or should I fight? Okay, so therefore he's writing. However, at the end of the 4th chapter, the Lord advised Arjuna to wake up and fight. Therefore, by simultaneously stressing importance of both work in devotion and inaction in knowledge, Krishna has perplexed Arjuna. Okay, so again he's confused because again he thinks that acting in knowledge means not working. Okay, he thinks acting in knowledge means not working. And then again he tells him to fight. So therefore he gets confused. Okay, so here, so chapter 4 is Karma Yoga and sacrifice resulting in Gyan. And chapter 5 is basically description of a Gyani. Okay, so that's how Krishna is proceeding very systematically. So one who practices Nishkam Karma Yoga comes to Gyan. So that's the 4th chapter. That how by performing Nishkam Karma Yoga, by performing sacrifices, then one that results in Gyan. By performing Nishkam Karma, one comes to Gyan. And the 5th chapter is essentially describing the symptoms of a Gyani. Okay, connection with chapter 4 and chapter 5, read.
Connection between 4 and 5. Being worried about the contradiction between the two statements at the end of the previous chapter, Arjuna asks a question. In verse 41 of the last chapter, you spoke of renouncing karma by jnana arising from karma yoga. Yoga sannyasta karmanam. But in the verse 42, you again spoke of taking up karma yoga, yogam atistosta bharat.
Atishta uttishta.
Uttishta bharat. It is not possible to perform both renunciation of action and karma yoga at once because there is an essential contradiction between the two. Just as there is a contradiction between remaining stationary and moving. Therefore, the man of knowledge should either renounce karma or perform karma yoga. Since I do not understand your intention, I am asking, among these two, which one is better? Please tell that definitely to me.
Yes, so that's why Arjuna once again got the doubt. And once again, he's asking the same question basically. But then Krishna is going to speak in a slightly different way. So of course, he'll answer the question, but go a little bit higher also. So the first section of the chapter, Karma Yoga better than Karma Sannyas. Now Krishna answers, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyasa Karavubhau Tayostu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate. The personality of God replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. So here he's saying, sannyasa, karma yogascha, nishreyasa karav ubhau. Ubhau. Both of them. Both of them will lead to nishreyasa. Nishreyasa means liberation, which both sannyasa and karma yoga. So sannyas refers to, yes, karma sannyas on the platform of Gyan. So when one has complete realization that I am spirit, soul, not the body, one can renounce the karma. So Krishna is saying that karma sannyas will lead to liberation. And if you practice karma yoga, that also will lead to liberation. Therefore, both are good for achieving liberation. But then he says, Tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. But amongst the two, karma yoga is better than karma sannyas. So now the question arises, why? Why karma yoga is better than karma sannyas? So we already discussed that in the 3rd chapter. Krishna also spoke about it. So what's the reason why karma yoga is better than karma sannyas? Okay, one reason is to set example. That's correct. But there's also another more important reason.
Sannyasi also has to eat basic necessities. If you're taking breathing, then also you are doing some karma.
Okay, that karma yogi also will do, that the karma sannyasi also will do. Both of them have to eat, breathe, and by that there are some sinful activities, all that. So that applies for both, isn't it? That applies for both.
Immaturity.
Say that. What happens? Immaturity.
Without reaching to that stage, if you are performing, then it will fall down.
Correct. So in karma sannyas, there is a risk. There's a risk. What is the risk? If one is not yet completely purified, then one will become what? Mithyachari. Then one will become Mithyachari. So then, after taking karma sannyas, if one realizes, oh, I still have material desires, I'm not completely purified, then he thinks, no, to get purified, once again I'll perform my karma. Then that is called? Yes, Mantashi. One who eats his own vomits. So after taking karma sannyas, if one thinks of once again performing karma, that is abominable. So therefore, taking karma sannyas is a big risk. Because if one is not completely purified, either one becomes mithyachari or one becomes vantashi. Both are problem. समझ गया ना? So therefore, Krishna says, better is perform your Nishkam Karma Yoga. It is safe. And you'll get liberation also. So what's the problem? Srila Prabhupada, of course, he speaks about karma and he speaks about sannyas. So the first paragraph of the purport, Srila Prabhupada is speaking about fruitive activities, sense gratification. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma yad indriya pritya apranoti. So those verses he's speaking from the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam, Lord Rishabhdev's teachings about performing fruitive activities. And then the next paragraph he's speaking about gyan and renunciation. So then he's speaking about Falgu Vairagya and Yukta Vairagya. So Falgu Vairagya is accepted by the impersonalists, Mayavadis, but then the Vaishnavas accept Yukta Vairagya. Okay, now let's read this commentary. Okay, read.
5.2 Baldev Vidyabhushan commentary. Asked by Arjuna, the Lord spoke, both are beneficial since they both lead to liberation, but Karma Yoga is better than Jnana Yoga, Karma Sannyas. The meaning is this: Karma Yoga does not bear the same faults that arise in practicing Jnana, but because of containing Jnana within it, it makes Jnana steady. For one who has renounced action because of steadiness in Jnana, if he develops a fault in the consciousness, he must perform Karma Yoga to correct the fault. This is the injunction of scriptures for remedying the problem. Statements indicating renunciation of action say that when one attains absorption in Atma, then all actions leave that person spontaneously. Therefore, Karma Yoga is better because it is easier to perform, because it is safer, and because it contains jnana within it.
Okay, three reasons. Three reasons why karma yoga is better than karma sannyas. What are three reasons? First is easier to perform because one does not have to go to the forest, renounce one's karma, stay in in some caves in the Himalayas. So one does not have to do all those severe austerities. Therefore, it is easier to perform. And it is safer. Why it is safer? Why it is safer? Yes, no risk of falling down, no risk of either becoming Mityachari or Vantashi. And at the same time, he gets Gyan. By performing Nishkam Karma Yoga, he continues to get more Gyan, more purification, and ultimately lead to liberation. So, for these three reasons, Karma Yoga is better than Karma Sannyas. Clear? Okay. Fine. Third, Jnaya Sanitya Sannyasi Yogo Yo na dveshti na kankshati Nirdvandvo hi mahabaho Sukham bandhat pramuchyate. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated, O mighty Arjuna. So here Krishna is saying, who is the real sannyasi? So the real sannyasi is not one who has taken karma sannyas, but the real sannyasi is who? Who? Yes, yona dveshti na kankshati, who does not desire nor hate the results of his actions. That means he is detached from those results. So it's not that if he gets the results, he's very happy, nor if he doesn't get the results, he's not hankering for them. So he neither hates nor he hankers. He gets the results, fine. Doesn't get the results, fine. So somebody who is not attached to the fruits of his activity, Krishna says he is actually a sannyasi. Yo gneyam sa nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kankshati. That means one who is not attached to the fruits, he is the actual sannyasi. Correct? So who sannyasi means what? Yeah. So basically one who has renounced the mentality to enjoy. So sat nyasa, sannyas come, if you split it, it comes sat nyasa. Nyasa means to renounce. Nyasa means to renounce. For whom? Sat, for the Supreme. So that's the meaning of sannyas. So one who renounces everything for the Supreme. So if somebody has no mentality to enjoy the fruits, he's as good as sannyas. So that means he has sacrificed the fruits for the Supreme. So because he has sacrificed the fruits for the Supreme, he's not attached to the fruits, then he's as good as a sannyasi. There is no need to take karma sannyas. He's as good as a sannyas. That's what Krishna is telling. And again, Prabhupada gives a Krishna conscious purport. One who is fully in Krishna consciousness is always a renouncer because he feels neither hatred nor desire for the results of his actions. And we find this constantly in the pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. We find this always, so many times. So it was not that Srila Prabhupada was ever hankering for the results. And if he got results, it was not that he was attached to them. So many pastimes. We find so many people would come and offer so many gifts to Prabhupada. So Shrutagiti Prabhu, as a personal servant of Srila Prabhupada, So Srila Prabhupada would get gifts and he would just distribute them. So Shrutikirti Prabhu would get a lot of gifts. Shawls, socks, blankets, so many things he would get. Prabhupada is not attached. So anyway, I'll tell you one pastime. So Shrutikirti Prabhu was in Los Angeles and it was winter time. So there was Prabhupada's room, beside that was servant's room. So at that point of time, Shrutikirti Prabhu did not have a blanket. And so, in order to keep himself warm, he would turn on the gas burner, which he used for cooking. So he would turn on that so that some heat would be there in the room. So that was what he was doing. So one morning, Srila Prabhupada was chanting in his room, and then he was walking and chanting, and then he just opened the door to the servant's room. And he saw the Shrutikirti Prabhu sleeping with the burner on. So Srila Prabhupada said, "Hey, what is this? You don't have blanket?" No, Srila Prabhupada. So then Prabhupada opened his cupboard, almirah, and said, take one blanket from here. So Shrutikirti Prabhu chose one nice first class blanket, very expensive one, and he took it. And then for some days, for some reason, maybe that place was a little congested or whatever. So he began to sleep in the temple hall. So when he was sleeping in the temple hall, then other devotees saw, hey, this person has such a costly blanket. So then obviously they comment, na? So they started commenting, array, the Shrutikirti was Prabhupada's servant who is getting all these costly things. So then when Shrutikirti Prabhu heard that, then he gave that blanket to some other devotee. And then again he started sleeping with the burner on. And again Srila Prabhupada saw. So then Srila Prabhupada said, array, I gave you that blanket that time, what happened? Srila Prabhupada gave it to another devotee. So then Prabhupada said, again, take another and this time don't give to somebody else. So then again he takes. So in this way we find Srila Prabhupada, he would receive things, he would give them away like that. So sometimes we find Prabhupada sometimes wearing 2-3 rings because people would give. So Srila Prabhupada would just wear them, after some time would give them. So that was Prabhupada's life. Totally renounced. He was not attached to anything. So that's a real sannyasi. That's a real sannyasi. So whether one has much or one does not have anything, either ways, one is happy because one is simply dependent on Krishna. So that's what Prabhupada writes here. That and so therefore nirdvandva, therefore he's not affected by dvandva, dualities, because he's not on the bodily platform. So to the degree one is on the bodily platform, one is affected by dualities. Man, samman, man, apaman, heat, cold. So one is affected by dualities to the degree one is in bodily conception. So then when one is not in bodily conception, one is renounced, then he's not affected by dualities. Nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. So in any situation, he lives happily, sukham. And the result is na bandhat pramuchyate. He is not bound, he's completely liberated. So further down the purport, Prabhupada says, there is no duality in his mind because whatever he does for Krishna. Being thus freed from the platform of dualities, he is liberated even in this material world. He's not affected. So, therefore, is liberated. Okay, fourth. Sankhya yoga pritag balaha pravadanti na panditaha ekam apyastita sanya ubhayor vindate phalam. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, karma yoga, as being different from the analytical study of the material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the results of both. So here Krishna is saying, Sankhya yoga pritak balaha. So anyone who thinks that Sankhya yoga is pritak, pritak means different from Nishkam Karma Yoga. Anyone who thinks that Sankhya Yoga is different from Nishkam Karma Yoga is what? Balaha, is of childish intelligence. Because actually, Ekam, they're not two, they're only one. Why both are one? Huh? Yes, because the goal of both is the same. So just like, again, if you remember yoga ladder, so on one hand there is, so on the lower platform is a Nishkam Karma Yoga. And then next step is Jnana Yoga. So they are not two different paths, first of all. They're two steps on the same path. They're not different. They're two steps on the same path, and ultimately both of them will lead to liberation. So therefore Krishna says, anyone who thinks that they're separate is simply childish, balaha. And as Prabhupada writes, the aim of the analytical study of the material world is to find the soul of existence. The soul of the material world is Vishnu, or the supersoul, and devotional service of the Lord entails service to the supersoul. Okay, one process is to find the root of the tree, and the other is to water the root of the tree. Okay, so therefore, those who do not know the ultimate end say that the purposes of Sankhya and Karma Yoga are not the same, but one who is learned knows the unifying aim in these different processes.
Prabhuji, when Lord is now the second verse, Prabhuji, second line of that translation, it says that those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the results of both. So now, Prabhuji, we understand that when someone does karma yoga, because we are discussing that no karma yoga is better than karma sannyas. So that is understood, which is already mentioned in third chapter, and like well on again continued in fourth. Now, when we speak about the second one, like analytical study of mental, which is Sankhya Yoga, is referring to what kind of Sankhya Yoga?
Gyan.
It's only Gyan? Yeah, you are telling, Nishkam Karma Yoga again.
When he's talking about Sankhya, he's basically referring to the process of Jnana Yoga or Karma Sannyas.
Okay. So, Prabhuji, now, see, earlier Arjuna asked question because he was confused. Don't give him an equivalent answer. Equivocal. And then Lord again clarified second and third was saying that, Sakarma Yoga is better. But again, Lord says that here, no, because no one, if only a fool differentiates between these two. And again says, even if you perform any one of them properly, we'll achieve the same result.
But then he has already clarified.
He has clarified, Prabhuji.
See, he has already clarified that as far as you're concerned, Karma Yoga is better than Karma Sannyas. He's already said it.
Yes, that is it.
He has already said that. And here also he's saying that basically you don't have to worry about Karma Sannyas because the goal of Karma Sannyas is what? Liberation. And what one will achieve by Nishkam Karma Yoga? Liberation. So that is what he's trying to say.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Basically, he's trying to say that there is no need for you to take karma sannyas because there's actually no difference in the ultimate result. That is what he's trying to say.
In the statement that even if you do one of these two, you'll achieve the result of both. It's like,
so basically that's what he's trying to say. Basically, he's trying to say that even if you perform Nishkam Karma Yoga, you are going to get the ultimate result of liberation, which is also the result of karma sannyas. That's basically what he's trying to say. Okay. Okay, we'll just recite these two verses more just to finish the section. Yat sankye prapyate sthanam tad yogeirapi gamyate ekam sankyam cha yogam cha ya pashyati sa pashyati. One who knows that the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, sees things as they are. So basically the same thing, right? So one who knows that basically the goal of both is the same. So then he sees things as they are. So therefore, Prabhupada ends this purport by saying, factually, both processes are the same, although superficially one process appears to involve detachment and the other process appears to involve attachment. Okay, so detachment from matter and attachment to Krishna are one and the same. One who can see this sees things as they are. Okay, so detachment from matter is Nishkam Karma Yoga, and in Jnana Yoga there is more attachment to the Supreme. So that's what he's referring to. And so ultimately, the goal of both is the same. 6. Sanyasastu mahabaho dukkam aptuma yogataha yoga yukto munir brahma na chirenadi gacchati. Merely renouncing all activities yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. So here he's saying that simply taking karma sannyas will simply lead to dukkham. If there is a yogataha, so if one simply takes sannyas, but he is not engaged in yoga, that means he has not purified himself by the performance of Nishkam Karma Yoga, and he directly takes sannyas, then the result will be dukkha. So therefore, he is saying that it is better that you engage in Nishkam Karma Yoga. Yoga Yukto Munir Brahma Na Chirenadi Gacchati. In that way, if one performs Nishkam Karma Yoga, very soon one can achieve the Supreme. And in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is essentially distinguishing between Mayavad Sannyas and Vaishnav Sannyas. So as Prabhupada writes, the Vaishnav Sannyasis have nothing to do with material activities, and yet they perform various activities in their devotional service to the Lord. But the Mayavadi Sannyasis engaged in the studies of Sankhya and Vedanta and speculation cannot relish the transcendental service of the Lord because their studies become very tedious, just like sitting in this class. Because their studies become very tedious, they sometimes become tired of Brahman speculation, and thus they take shelter of the Bhagavatam without proper understanding. Consequently, their study of the Srimad Bhagavatam becomes troublesome. So that's the Mayavadi sannyasis. Dry speculations and impersonal interpretations by artificial means are all useless for the Mayavadi sannyasis. The Vaishnava sannyasis who are engaged in devotional service are happy in the discharge of their transcendental duties, and they have the guarantee of ultimate entrance into the kingdom of God. The Mayavadi sannyasis sometimes fall down from the path of self-realization and again enter into material activities of a philanthropic and altruistic nature, which are nothing but material engagements. Therefore, the conclusion is that those who are engaged in Krishna conscious activities are better situated than the sannyasis engaged in simple speculation about what is Brahman and what is not Brahman, although they too come to Krishna consciousness after many births. Okay? So here, the conclusion is that those who are engaged in Krishna conscious activities are better situated than sannyasis engaged in simple speculation. So these sannyasis, the Mayavadi sannyasis, they take karma sannyas. They take karma sannyas. And they give up all their prescribed duties. So therefore, in one lecture, though Srila Prabhupada did speak from different angles, but at least in one lecture, Srila Prabhupada, commenting on that verse, which talks about 5 things being banned for Kali Yuga. One of them is sannyas. So in one lecture, Prabhupada says what that is referring to is karma sannyas, which the Mayavadis take. So that type of karma sannyas is not recommended in Kali Yuga. Hmm. But the Vaishnav sannyas is fine because the Vaishnav sannyasi does not give up his karma. He still continues the performance of prescribed duties. Hmm.
When you speak about varnashram dharma and yoga ladder, so let's say someone who is practicing karma yoga, anyone, nishkam karma yoga or kam karma yoga, in Vedic lifestyle, when you bring in ashram into picture, so like when does a person is qualified to take sannyas? In that case, like first of all, only brahmanas are allowed to take sannyas, and even in that, who is qualified to take sannyas in terms of Vedic perspective? Because we see that here someone is practicing karma yoga. Lord is stressing again and again that karma yogi is better than karma sannyas. Then when is that karma yogi is supposed to take a sannyas in terms of ashram? Because when he takes sannyas, Prabhupada clarifies two things. One, a devotee taking sannyas, a Vaishnava taking sannyas is different. And another other path of people, whether it is Jnana Yogi, Ashtanga Yogi, taking sannyas is a different case. So in that perspective, when is he supposed to take sannyas?
Yes, so as we have been discussing, that to take karma sannyas, what is the qualification? The gyan must be perfect. Jnana nishtha. That is what now further on, now Krishna is going to speak of who is qualified actually for karma sannyas. So basically, one must have full realization I'm not the body, I'm spirit, soul, and one must be totally purified of all desires for sense gratification. When one is totally purified, one has 100% realized I'm not the body, I'm spirit, soul, then one is qualified. So now, of course, it's still a very risky business because where is the barometer? What's the barometer? And Maya is very tricky. Now, today I may feel, oh, I'm totally purified. Let me take sannyas. And who knows what will happen tomorrow? Very difficult. So, therefore, Krishna is saying, no, don't bother about all this. Just continue your Nishkam Karma Yoga. So, the basic qualification to take sannyas is complete purification. That is the basic qualification. Of course, that principle even applies to Vaishnav sannyas. Because, yes, if one is purified, then one will get the benefit. But of course, in Vaishnav sannyas, even if there may be some contamination, there is still some hope because the Vaishnav sannyasi continues his various duties. And by performance of those duties, he continues to get purified. But in the case of karma sannyas, it's not like that. No more work, no more duties, everything renounced.
Prabhuji, let's say, now you said the qualification to taking sannyas is 100% purification. Then Prabhuji, if I am 100% purified, why will I take sannyas? Abhi ho gaya na, Prabhuji. If result is achieved, kya?
So don't take sannyas, simple.
I'm asking it in that perspective.
That's exactly what Krishna is saying. That's exactly what Krishna is saying. So Krishna is saying, see, the goal is achieved. See, here also you're going to get, you take sannyas also, you're going to get liberation. You continue your Nishkam Karma Yoga, you become purified, you'll get liberation. So either case, you'll get liberation. So, but karma sannyas is a risk. So therefore he's saying, why bother about all this risk and all that? Continue your Nishkam. Okay.
I have two questions. First,
but I think so. You have only 2 minutes because already we're a little delayed for the break. So you want to ask after the break or? I think so. After the break is good because we're already late. Hare Krishna. You can write down your questions if you're afraid of forgetting. So basically, so as one is performing Nishkam Karma Yoga, one gets purified. So when one gets purified, one is free from all the material desires, one perfectly realizes, I'm not the body, I'm spirit, soul. Then one thinks I'm qualified for sannyas. Then one renounces one's work. Of course, things are done under instruction of some guru, and then one can renounce and then focus entirely on studying the scriptures, meditating on the impersonal Brahman, and performing severe austerities. So then obviously these processes of jnana yoga on the advanced stages, then they're not performed in cities. One will have to go to some Himalayas where there's no distraction, hopefully. These days, Himalayas are also getting crowded, thanks to all the modern transport systems. So, but then that's where a real jnani is. So, especially if one has taken karma sannyas. So, karma sannyas means what? No karma, no work. Then what he has to do in this world? There's nothing to do in this world. So then such a person will go somewhere, some secluded place, meditating, studying the scriptures. That's so therefore, such jnanis, advanced jnanis, one doesn't find in cities. Kumbh Mela.
There is also mixture of Naga Babas and
Right.
all
So
mystics.
big variety. That is big variety. But
Any reference in scriptures we can quote, like of any personality? Is there?
see, of course, all these examples like Saubari Muni and Vishwamitra Muni, so they were all like jnanis, yogis. So they were obviously jnanis, isn't it? So totally renounced. They had no material desires. So therefore they could perform tapasya for so many years. So they're definitely jnanis. Was that?
So people like the people who have profounded that 6 systems of philosophy, Jaimini Rishi, each one of them, and all the systems also come under that kind of category. No.
Their only Patanjali yoga system is bona fide.
Yeah.
In those 6 systems of philosophy, Patanjali yoga system is bona fide, and Vyasadev's devotional service, Yoga Sutras, the Vedanta Sutras, Brahma Sutras. So only those 2 are bona fide. Others are all concoctions.
I'm telling you, those kind of people, like the propounders of those philosophy, I'm like even the disciples of.
We are not talking about some speculative gyan. We are not talking about speculative gyan. So the real jnanis that we are talking about here, bona fide jnanis. So they have bona fide knowledge, bona fide realization. I'm not body, I'm spirit, soul. Then their realization of the supreme absolute truth may be incomplete, but it's all bona fide.
Then, Broji, like we have, as per Bhakti is concerned, so we have so many literature in terms of Bhakti, like how it should be performed, how it should be performed, what are the obstacles, and what are the stages. And it's very clear in terms of the science of Bhaktis by various books written by Acharyas. Now, when we say, even as per Bhagavatam, when we say this, this absolute truth is realized in 3 forms: Brahmeti, Bhavaneti, something. And then, Broji, are there any specific literature or in terms of information available of how the other 2 processes work, what are the various paths, methods, obstacles, how do they cross the paths and all?
Why you want to know so much?
I'm just asking, boy, this reference. See, because generally when we speak of Gyanis, we only say that, bona fide Gyanis, I'm telling. We only say that, they are the ones who they have realization of that I'm not this body, I'm soul. So like,
and they speculate on the impersonal Brahman.
but again, Proji, when we say that, when we say Gyani, we say that he's a bona fide Gyani. But
So the bona fide Jnani is what we are discussing now.
Then
And the non-bona fide Jnanis are the Mayavadis.
But what about the speculation? Speculation comes matlab that's altogether. You cannot speculate.
See, as far as realization of the impersonal Brahman is concerned, to understand the impersonal Brahman, so the process that they follow is basically studying the scriptures,
like
Vedas, Upanishads. So they study these scriptures and then they try to understand the absolute truth by study of the scriptures. So basically, because they are trying to simply understand based on these scriptures, it is a speculative process.
If it becomes a speculative process, then there is a high chance that these people will land up into some of those kind of people. Just हमने बोला कि out of the 6 systems of philosophy, only Patanjali and Vasudeva devotion like serving.
Yes, they can land up anywhere.
Anywhere. I'm telling there.
That is why Bahunam Janmanam. In one lifetime, they are trying to understand absolute truth by speculation. Where they will land, who knows? So then again, they'll have to start. Then again, they land somewhere like that.
But then this speculation, the concept of like you said, they read scriptures, they speculate. That is their one of the main sadhanas. Then the speculation is again. It is like speculation itself. The term itself states that it is non-bona fide. Then how can that person become a bona fide Gyani?
See, what is bona fide and not bona fide is that the Mayavadis, their understanding is that when the absolute truth comes into this world, he takes on a material form.
Yeah. Yes.
That is totally non-bona fide.
All right.
But as far as the Brahmavadis, you can say, or the bona fide Gyanis,
yes.
So they perfectly understand that the absolute truth is always transcendent.
Yeah.
Even when he comes into this material world and accepts a form, his body remains transcendent. So, but they are trying to realize exactly what is that absolute truth. That is the process of speculation.
Yeah. Yes.
That process is called the Neti process. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the Ishopanishad purports, by this process of negation, they can at most come to the realization of the impersonal Brahman. Good. We hope you don't get too attracted by that. And surely you won't get Mahaprasad there. That's what I'm trying to remind them.
No, brother. Already distributed, brothers. You got it.
Yes. सौंफ क्या प्रसाद होता है?
महाप्रसाद रहता है brother. महाप्रसाद.
अरे this is cheating, बाबा.
कल को कोई तुलसी लाके दे देगा तुलसी.
हाँ वही तो.
That's what brother. Now because this has started, we'll standardize what should be given and so next time onwards the standard will work.
So what? This is Gyani standard or what? Not Gyanis. हाँ कौन क्या बोल रहा है?
So regarding this method, Krishna is telling that Jnana Yoga is like it is prone to fall. There is a lot of it is prone to fall down, but Karma Yoga is safer. So like Karma Yoga also may have that that problems in the project. Actually, if while doing Niskam Karma Yoga, one may get attached to the fruit. So that is also like fall down from Karma Yoga. Is that not possible?
See, but see, even if he gets attached to the fruits, what will happen? What will happen?
I mean, he falls down from the position of Niskam Karma Yoga.
No, so what is the solution?
Means he has to again strive to again like do Niskam Karma Yoga like that.
Yeah, so see, he's already trying to become detached from the fruits. And sometimes he may get a little more attached. Then again, he tries to rectify himself, become detached again. But that is not considered like a major fall down. Because it's not that, he's not officially renounced the fruits. It's not official. But when you talk of karma sannyas, it's like official. Taking sannyas vows.
Mm.
Taking sannyas vows. And that is also the difference between brahmachari and sannyas. Right? Brahmachari is also renounced, but
Yes.
he has not taken vows of renunciation. So therefore, continuing to remain a brahmachari is more safe. That's the practical application. That's a fact. But then, of course, anyway. But the point is, yes, there are the karma. This karma yogi has not taken any vows of detachment from the fruits. He's trying to get detached, and then sometimes fails. Yeah, that's what. There is no loss. There's nowhere to fall. Right.
Prabhuji, process is also still same. For karma sannyasi, it changes. Like he has to.
Yeah, so that's what. So
But he's still doing devotional.
correct. So the karma yogi, even though sometimes he may get attached, okay, so what? So then again he has to continue on with his process and try to get detached. But in the case of karma sannyas, it's not like that. He's officially renounced the fruits, renounced the work, everything. So that there's a big risk. So then he cannot come back to performing karma. Then that's abominable. All right.
One second question I had, which.
हाँ, जल्दी बोलो.
Roji, it seems like fifth and sixth are talking of same thing. Sixth is then directly negating that Krishna is telling, okay, whatever I have told in fifth, but
So
if you-
basically in sixth, he's saying that you only take sannyas without proper purification, and the result will be dukkham.
which means he is saying, okay, in fifth he's saying both are equal, but sixth is showing superiority of.
Correct.
Is it correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So therefore, once again, he's saying no karma sannyas. Continue nishkam karma. Okay? Okay. So now we go to the next section. So these are, here he's talking about the symptoms of an advanced nishkam karma yogi who's like a jnani. So what are the symptoms? 7. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. One who works in devotion, who's a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Okay, this is a nice purport.
Purport. One who is on the path of liberation by Krishna consciousness is very dear to every living being, and every living being is dear to him. This is due to his Krishna consciousness. Such a person cannot think of any living beings as separate from Krishna, just as the leaves and branches of a tree are not separate from the tree. He knows very well that by pouring water on the root of the tree, the water will be distributed to all the leaves and branches, or by supplying food to the stomach, the energy is automatically distributed throughout the body. Because one who works in Krishna consciousness is servant to all, he is very dear to everyone. And because everyone is satisfied his work by his work, he is pure in consciousness. Because he is pure in consciousness, his mind is completely controlled. And because his mind is controlled, his senses are also controlled. Because his mind is always fixed on Krishna, there is no chance of his being deviated from Krishna. Not is there a chance that he will engage his senses in matters other than the service of the Lord. He does not like to hear anything except topics relating to Krishna. He does not like to eat anything which is not offered to Krishna, and he does not wish to go anywhere if Krishna is not involved. Therefore, his senses are controlled. A man of controlled senses cannot be offensive to anyone. One may ask, why then was Arjuna offensive in battle to others? Wasn't he in Krishna consciousness? Arjuna was only superficially offensive because, as has already been explained in the second chapter, all the assembled persons on the battlefield would continue to live individually, as the soul cannot be slain. So, spiritually, no one was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Only their dresses were changed by the order of Krishna, who was personally present. Therefore, Arjun, while fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, was not really fighting at all. He was simply carrying out the orders of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Such a person is never entangled in the reactions of work.
So here, so this is talking about Nishkam Karma Yogi. Yoga Yukto. Yoga Yukto. So that means he's performed Nishkam Karma Yoga. So three characteristics have been mentioned. What are they? Vishuddhatma, Vijitatma, and Jitendriya. So Vishwanath Chakravarti explains these three words like this. Read.
One engaged in karma yoga, having controlled his intelligence, mind and senses, though he is engaged in work, is not contaminated and is the object of love for all living entities. The Gyanis, by performing karma, is not contaminated. That is stated in this verse. The Gyani engaged in karma yoga are of three types: those who control their intelligence, Visuddhatma; those who have controlled their minds, Vijitatma; and those who control their senses, Jitendriya. The order of superiority is first from last to first. Having controlled intelligence is the best. All jivas are attracted to such. All jivas are attracted to such a grastha. His body, Atma, becomes the object of love, Atma Bhuta, for all living entities, Sarva Bhuta.
So basically, so Vishuddha Atma, Vijitatma, and Jitendra. So Vishuddhatma is controlled intelligence, Vijitatma is controlled mind, and Jitendriya is controlled senses. So that means that is, so as he's saying, there are three types. So that means that's how he progresses. So initially controlling the senses, as we discussed in a previous class, that's more easy because they're graphs. Then controlling the mind, then controlling the intelligence. So in this way, the Nishkam Karma Yogi, he progresses, and ultimately all senses, mind, intelligence, everything becomes controlled. So such a person, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma, Sarva Bhuta means to all living entities. Prabhupada translates Atma Bhutatma as compassionate. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that because one who works in Krishna consciousness is servant to all, he is very dear to everyone. So such a person, so he has controlled senses, mind, intelligence, everything. That means no more material desires, correct? So because one does not have material desires, everyone loves him. Usually when does the problem arise? So usually the problem arises when I have attachment to something. I want something which somebody else has. Correct? So usually in this world, there are limited resources, more demand. That is the situation, correct? Correct? Usually there are limited resources, demand is more. So therefore, usually problem arises when I want something. Correct? So suppose Vamsidhar Prabhu gets some 10 gulab jamuns. And how many students are here? 12 or 13. So there are 10 and then there are 13. So then what? Then what will happen? So then there's going to be some competition, correct? There's going to be some competition. हाँ, तो किसी को आधा लेना पड़ेगा. और तो कौन लेगा? आधा कौन लेगा? कोई नहीं चाहता ना आधा, सबको पूरा चाहिए. हाँ, तो वही तो गड़बड़ हो गया ना. अभी फोर्स करेगा तो गड़बड़ हो गया. जिसको 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 आधा मिल गया वो तो बेचारा रोते बैठेगा. अरे वो भी प्रॉब्लम है ना, वो भी प्रॉब्लम है. लोग बोलेंगे अरे ये तो बदमाश है. अरे खुद खा लेता है, दूसरों का आधा बांटता. So this is the problem in this world. This is the problem. And even if you give one to everyone, they will say एक ही क्यों, दो क्यों नहीं दिया? So this is the problem. So therefore, when one is free from all desires, then one is friend to everyone. Because then he will not think of eating anything for himself. He will only give. So the point is when one does not have any material desires, so then he can actually serve others. That's what Prabhupada is writing. What is writing? Yes, he's servant to all. He's servant to all. Because he's not thinking of what I will get in return. He's not thinking about that. So therefore he's servant to all. And because he's servant to all, therefore everyone loves him. And that was the position of the 6 Goswamis. So what is said about 6 Goswamis? Dhira adhira jana priyo. So they were dear to all, the sober as well as the ruffians. They were dear to all because they didn't want to take anything from anyone. They only had to give. They only wanted to give, serve. So the more one is free from material desires, the more one can serve selflessly. Okay? The more one has material desires, even while serving, one is always thinking, what? मुझे क्या मिलेगा? मुझे क्या मिलेगा बदले में? So one is always thinking of that. So then he cannot serve selflessly, correct? Cannot serve selflessly. So therefore it is said here that one who is pure soul, who is controlled his senses, mind, intelligence, then as he says here, he becomes the object of love for all living entities because he has nothing to take, he has only to give. Okay, so these are the symptoms of an advanced Nishkam Karma Yogi. So he's controlling his senses, mind, intelligence, then he becomes advanced.
Someone doesn't have anything from himself, and then he's like in a mood of giving it everything, giving whatever he has for others. Like we said, give the example of Shad Goswamis. They are all mostly in renounced order of life, but specifically in this here it is written as Grihastha. But Grihastha
the reason is because here he's talking about a Nishkam Karma Yogi who has not yet taken sannyas. But so he's gradually advancing. So Nishkam Karma Yogis are usually Grihasthas. They're performing their prescribed duty, but at the same time they're sacrificing the fruits for some spiritual cause. So mostly they're Grihasthas. That's what is being discussed. He's not yet taken sannyas. Okay. More symptoms. Next 2 verses. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyet tattvavid pashyan shrinvan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan swapan shvasan pralapan vistrujan grinan unmishan nimishan napi indriyan indriyarteshu vartanta iti dharayan. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with the objects and that he is aloof from them. Purport.
A person in Krishna consciousness is pure in his existence, and consequently, he has nothing to do with any work, which depends upon five immediate and remote causes: the doer, the work, the situation, the endeavor, and the fortune. This is because he is engaged in the loving transcendental service of Krishna. Although he appears to be acting with his body and senses, he is always conscious of his actual position, which is spiritual engagement. In material consciousness, the senses are engaged in sense gratification, but in Krishna consciousness, the senses are engaged in the satisfaction of Krishna's senses. Therefore, the Krishna conscious person is always free, even though he appears to be engaged in affairs of the senses. Activities such as seeing and hearing are reactions of the senses, are the actions of the senses meant for receiving knowledge, whereas moving, speaking, evacuating, etc., are actions of the senses meant for work. A Krishna conscious person is never affected by the actions of the senses. He cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord, because he knows that he is the eternal servitor of the Lord.
Okay, so here it's being mentioned that such a yogi, yukto, naiva kinchit karomi iti, yuktaha manyeta. So one who's yukta, that means he's engaged in divine consciousness. He's performing yoga, yukta, nishkam karma yoga. So such a person, naiva kinchit karomiti, karomiti. He never thinks that I am the doer. He never thinks I am the doer. But what does he think? Manyeta. So as he's performing these different activities, Pashan, Shrinvan, Sprishan, all these different activities, so he perfectly understands Indriyani Indriya Artheshu. He perfectly understands the senses are dealing with their sense objects. Indriya, Indriya Artha. I have nothing to do with all this. This is what? This body. This body is functioning, getting some sense objects. But I am aloof. So this is an advanced Nishkam Karma Yogi. He has Gyan. What Gyan he has now? I am not the body, I am spirit soul. So therefore, even though he may be performing activities with his body, but he perfectly understands that I am not the doer. I have nothing to do with these activities. That's body doing. Okay, so this is an advanced Nishkam Karma Yogi. And so, of course, the principle does apply to us also as devotees. And Srila Prabhupada is giving a Krishna conscious purport. And he is saying that how a Krishna conscious person is never affected by the actions of the senses. He cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord, because he knows that he is the eternal servant of the Lord. So whatever a devotee does is ultimately meant for satisfaction of the Lord. Okay, now if the Nishkam Karma Yogi acts in this way, okay, Prabhupada's lecture on these verses, read.
When Krishna will ask me or allow me to go, Krishna says, Naiva kinchit karomi yukto manyeta tattvavit. I am not doing anything. That is the stage. A Krishna conscious person never thinks that I am doing something. Even if you ask him that, are you going to such and such place? He will say that I do not know when I shall go. But when Krishna will ask me or allow me to go, I shall go. I am saying this from my practical experience from my Guru Maharaj. From my spiritual master, he would never say, I am going, doing. No. If Krishna desires, then I shall do it. If Krishna desires, then I shall go.
So that's the Krishna conscious purport to the verse. So the devotee never thinks that I am doing, but He understands perfectly well that if Krishna desires, Krishna willing, then one can do something. So if one acts in this consciousness, then what is the results? Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate na sapapena padmapatram mivambasa. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Okay, let's request somebody online to read. So who's online?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
So where is Vittal, bro?
He was there till the break, Prabhu. After the break,
He
I think he is
disappeared,
not.
huh? Okay, so please note attendance. Huh? Achha. Okay, so Suraj Babu, please read the purport.
Here, Brahmani means in Krishna consciousness. The material world is a sum of total manifestation of the three modes of material nature, technically called the Pradhana. The Vedic hymns Sarvam Hi Idam Brahma, Mandukya Upanishad, Tasmad Etad Brahma Nama Rupam Annam Ch Jayate, Mundak Upanishad 1.2.10, and in the Bhagavad Gita 14.3. Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma indicate that everything in the material world is a manifestation of Brahman. And although the effects are differently manifested, they are non-different from the cause. In the Ishopanishad, it is said that everything is related to the Supreme Brahman or Krishna, and thus everything belongs to him only. One who knows perfectly well that everything belongs to Krishna, that he is the proprietor of everything, and that therefore everything is engaged in the service of service of the Lord, naturally has nothing to do with the results of his activities, whether virtuous or sinful. Even one's material body being a gift of the Lord for carrying out a particular type of action can be engaged in Krishna consciousness. It is then beyond contamination by sinful reactions, exactly as the lotus leaf, though remain in the water, is not wet. The Lord also says in the Gita 3.30, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya, resign all works unto me, Krishna. The conclusion is that a person without Krishna consciousness acts according to the concept of the material body and senses, but a person in Krishna consciousness acts according to the knowledge that the body is the property of Krishna and should therefore be engaged in the service of Krishna.
Yes. Brahmanya adhaya karmani. So Brahmani means unto the Supreme Lord. So one who is doing all his activities for the Supreme, but sangam tyaktva, but giving up the attachment to the fruits. So if one is acting in this way, in Nishkam Karma Yoga, what is the result? Lipyate na sapapena padmapatram ivambasa. Then one is not affected by sinful reactions, just as the lotus leaf, even though within water, does not become wet. And that's what Prabhupada is explaining, that if one understands that Krishna is the proprietor of everything, ultimately there is nothing separate from Brahman. Sarvam khalu idam Brahma. Everything is Brahman. Everything belongs to the Supreme. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kinchan jagatyam. So everything belongs to the Supreme. Therefore, with that understanding, when one works for the Supreme, one sacrifices everything for the Supreme, then he is not affected by sinful or pious activities. 11. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalerindriyerapi yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye. The yogis, abandoning attachment, act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses only for the purpose of purification. So here, now it's being mentioned that yes, the Nishkam Karma Yogi, so he engages Kayena, Manasa, Buddhya, body, mind, intelligence, Kevaler Indriye Api, and even the senses. Why this senses is being separated? Even the senses. Correct. That's right. So the other yogis, like the Gyanis and Ashtang yogis, of course, on the higher platform, then they don't work. Correct? They don't work. They give up work. But here the Nishkam yogi does not give up his work. So therefore, Krishna is specifically saying he even engages the senses because he's still performing his work. So therefore, he even engages the senses. For what purpose? Atma Shuddhaye. Atma Shuddhaye. Only for the purpose of purification. Purification. Yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atma shuddhaye. So he's performing activity. Karma kurvanti is performing activity, but without attachment. Sangam tyaktva. Then why is he acting? Atma Shuddhaye. Only for the purpose of purification. Now again, Srila Prabhupada gives a nice Krishna conscious purport to this, how it is applicable for devotees. Read. Okay, we'll ask somebody else online. Who else is online? So, okay, Prashant Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Good.
Bhagavad Gita.
You're in
5.1.
Ayodhya, huh?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So you saw yesterday's program directly, huh?
No, Prabhuji, it's not allowed.
Then what's the use of being there?
Today we had darshan, Prabhuji.
Okay, good. Okay, read.
Bhagavad Gita 5.10.
10 nahi, 10 ho gaya, 11.
In PPT, it's showing 5.1.
अरे पीपीटी हमारा पीछे है, पीपीटी पीछे, हम आगे है. Purport.
Yes, yes. When one acts in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of the senses of Krishna, any action, whether of the body, mind, intelligence, or even the senses, is purified of material contamination. There are no material reactions resulting from the activities of a Krishna conscious person. Therefore, purified activities, which are generally called sadachar, can be easily performed by acting in Krishna consciousness. Srila Rup Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu described this as follows. Iha yasya hare dasya karmana manasa gira nikilasva api avatsu jivan muktasya uchyate. A person acting in Krishna consciousness, or in other words, in the service of Krishna, with his body, mind, intelligence, and words, is a liberated person, even within the material world. Although he may be engaged in many so-called material activities, he has no false ego, for he does not believe that he is this material body or that he possesses the body. He knows that he is not this body and that this body does not belong to him. He himself belongs to Krishna and the body too belongs to Krishna. When he applies everything produced of the body, mind, intelligence, words, life, wealth, etc., whatever he may have within his possession to Krishna's service, he at once dovetailed with Krishna. He is one with Krishna and is devoid of the false ego that leads one to believe that he is the body, etc. This is the perfect stage of consciousness.
Yes, so this is the Krishna conscious purport to this verse, that how a devotee also He engages his body, senses, mind, intelligence, everything in Krishna's service, perfectly understanding that nothing belongs to me, everything belongs to Krishna, so everything is used in Krishna's service. Then such a person is liberated even in this life, in this material body. He is on the liberated platform, because liberated platform means what? Was that? Yes, so the liberated platform means that he's not thinking I'm the doer. Okay, so he perfectly understands that everything belongs to Krishna, everything is used in Krishna's service. So therefore, he is on the liberated platform even within this material world. And in the next verse, Krishna is comparing a yogi and a non-yogi. Yukta karma phalam tyaktva shantimapnoti naishtikim ayukta kamakarena phale sakto nibadyate. So you can see here yukta and ayukta. Yukta, ayukta. So the yukta, that means the yogi, what he does? Karma phalam tyaktva. He gives up the fruits of his activities. And what is the result of that? Shanti. Shanti mapnoti naishtikim. He's fixed up, unflinching shanti, unflinching perfect peace. Prabhupada translates shanti as perfect peace. So the whole problem lies where? Yes, the whole problem is attachment to the fruits. Then no shanti. Then one is always thinking, fruit milega, nahi milega, fruit. So no shanti. But when one gives up the fruits, no attachment to the fruits, then shantim apnoti naishtikam. But one who's ayukta, then kamakarena, then one who's not engaged in karma yoga, then he's acting for kama, he's acting for sense gratification. And phale sakto, he's attached to the fruits. And because he's attached to the fruits, what's the result? What's the result? Nibadyate, the result is bondage. The steady devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the result of all activities to me. Whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled. Purport.
The difference between a person in Krishna consciousness and a person in bodily consciousness is that the former is attached to the Krishna, whereas the latter is attached to the result of his activities. The person who is attached to Krishna and work for him only in certainly a person who is attached to Krishna and works for him only is certainly a liberated person, and he has no anxiety over the result of his work. In the Bhagavatam, the cause of anxiety over the result of an activity is explained as being once functioning in the concept of duality, that is, without knowledge of the absolute truth. Krishna is the supreme absolute truth and the personality of Godhead. In Krishna consciousness, there is no duality. All that exists is a product of Krishna's energy, and Krishna is all good. Therefore, the activity in Krishna consciousness are on the absolute plane. They are transcendental and have no material effect. One is therefore filled with the peace in Krishna consciousness, but one who is entangled in profit calculation for sense gratification cannot have that peace. This is the secret of Krishna consciousness. Realization that there is no existence beside Krishna is the platform of peace and fearlessness.
That's a nice statement. Realization that there is no existence besides Krishna is the platform of peace and fearlessness. As the 11th canto says, what is the cause of fear? Bhayam dvitiya abhinivesheta syat. So when one is abhinivesh means absorption in something other than Krishna, dvitiya, then the result is fear. But when one is absorbed in Krishna, then no fear, because one has full faith that Krishna is my best friend and Krishna will do for my benefit. So therefore one is filled with peace and Krishna consciousness. But if it's always profit calculation, then no peace. Okay, so these are some of the symptoms of the Nishkam Karma Yogi. So when there is no Shanti,
in CC also there is one verse, no? Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Atayeva Shanta.
yes,
Bhukti Mukti Siddhikam
yes,
Sakala Shanti.
yes. So that's the Shanti.
Shanti means no material desires.
Exactly. Because as long as material desires,
Some
shochati, kankshati, then there's no peace.
if we compare this verse, the verse of the CC, see he in that say Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Atayeva Shanta. Bhukti Mukti Siddhikami Sakala Shanta. But here Krishna is, although Prabhupada translates it as a Krishna conscious person, but Krishna is not talking about Krishna. Is like Nishkam Karma Yogi. So how we can like do a
Yes, so basically, see, even the Nishkam Karma Yogi, if he's not attached to the fruits, then he also is Shant. But then, of course, then if he has desires for impersonal liberation, then that's in one sense is going to cause some Ashanti. But as long as he's just detached from the fruits and he's not hankering for some liberation, then he's Shant. Anything else? One last question.
Ji, when speaking about Brahman realization, this all of the three types of realization. When we speak about Brahman realization, so Prabhuji, we always understand that there's like spiritual greed. That is the only way one can attain Krishna as far as devotee is concerned. And in terms of impersonal liberation, when someone follows this karma yoga, which is an authorized bona fide karma yoga and bona fide jnana yoga, not speculation in terms of. So does he aspire for? Does he have a goal, or he does just simply follow the process? Because you mentioned that if he has, you said.
See, basically, in most cases, the Nishkam Karma Yogi's goal is liberation. That goal is definitely there.
But now you said no, but if he has a goal of impersonal liberation, then he cannot be peaceful.
See, when everything is relative. So when Krishna is speaking about Shanti here, he is definitely comparing to a materialistic person. Right? So there he is comparing Yukta, Ayukta. Yukta, Ayukta. So he's comparing. So in comparison to the Ayukta, who is Kamakarena, Fale Sakto. So in comparison to that, he's definitely Shanta. But then if you compare to a Bhakta, then yes, then there's a problem there also, because he has desire for impersonal liberation. So it depends on with whom you're comparing. Anything else? Good. Thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so tomorrow we'll continue the 5th chapter, and hopefully we'll finish the 5th chapter tomorrow. And then we will go to the 6th chapter.